And now a national survey finds that almost 50% of India's graduates are unemployable.
Millions of young Indians face the risk of unemployment.
This is Masters Union, a next generation business school where learning happens both inside and outside the classroom.
At Masters Union, they're trying to train all of you guys business by getting you to do business. And that's really how you learn business.
देखिए एक बिजनेस स्कूल है, वो एक मार्केटिंग स्कूल नहीं है, वो एक कंसल्टिंग स्कूल नहीं है, वो एक डेटा स्कूल नहीं है, वो एक जॉब स्कूल नहीं है, वो एक बिजनेस स्कूल है. बिजनेस स्कूल का काम क्या होना चाहिए? बिजनेस बनाना सिखाना.
Hi everybody. The Indian economy has been growing at a phenomenal pace in the past 2 decades, and you must have seen that India is getting a lot of global attention. This is because in the past 40 years, the world has seen China go from poverty to becoming a global superpower. And they saw the Chinese government leverage its population to turn China into an economic powerhouse.
China's economy has grown faster than that of any other major country. Once poor and underdeveloped, the Asian giant has now grown into one of the most important export markets for manufacturers from all over the world.
And now, India has become the most populous country of all. We have billions of dollars of foreign direct investment flowing in. And after COVID, the world has started moving its business out of China. So the entire world is expecting India to be the next economic superpower. But while on one side we Indians are hopeful about India becoming a superpower, on the other side, the most talented individuals of our country are leaving India. In 2022, a total of 13.2 lakh Indian students were studying abroad, out of which at least 1.45 lakh students were studying business and management. And these students are not ordinary students, but some of the smartest business minds in the world who have left India for the Harvards, INSEADs and Stanfords of the world. This is what made me wonder, why don't we have a Harvard or Walton type of college in India? And while I was doing my research, I went to teach in a college called Masters Union. And I thought it is just another B school that is trying to make money out of business education in India. But when I looked deeper, I discovered something very, very fascinating. Turns out, in just 3 years of their existence, they have beaten the placement records of legendary B schools like IIM Ahmedabad and Indian School of Business. If you look at their PGP results, while in 2020, ISB's average salary packages were 25.06 lakhs per annum, IMA stood at 26.12 lakhs per annum, whereas Masters Union was at 29.12 lakhs per annum. Similarly, in 2021, while ISB was at 27.13 lakhs per annum, IMA was 27.54 lakhs per annum, whereas Masters Union was at 33.1 lakhs per annum. And in spite of having an online model, while edtech companies of India have been bleeding with billions of dollars in losses, somehow Masters Union has built an offline business school and achieved profitability in just 3 years. And now their vision is to become the Harvard Business School of India. So in this episode of the New Age Indian Startups, let's do a deep dive and try to understand what are the 3 major problems with the business education system of India that Masters Union is trying to solve? How are they able to compete with the legacy brands like ISB and IIMs of India? How are they profitable so early? And most importantly, if you're an education entrepreneur, what are the lessons that you need to learn from this unique offline profitable education company? So as usual, let's start from the basics. To understand the core business model of any college, you need to understand this virtuous cycle of education. This cycle first starts with great marketing, by which you should get your first batch of students. Once you get your first batch, you got to provide them with great education. Then, great students plus great education gets great jobs to these students. And then, once you give out great placements, your marketing becomes more effective. Because now, you can market your placement record and placement partners for the next batch. This results into more application. Eventually, more applications give you better batch of students. And then, when you give them great education again, you get great placement numbers. This is what you call as the flywheel of cracking the education market of India. So if you see, there are 3 main pillars: marketing, education and placement. And in this case study, we will go step by step to understand each element of this flywheel so that you can understand both the problem that Masters Union is solving and the business that they are building. So let's start with the first element of the flywheel, which is great education. If you look at this article, as of 2019, only 54% of MBA graduates in India were employable, which means, let alone quality of jobs, 46% of MBA graduates didn't even have the skills to be eligible for a job. And when we look deeper, we found out 3 reasons for this pathetic state of MBA graduates in India. Number 1, most business colleges are more degree driven than outcome driven. So at the end of the college, most students have a degree but no skills at all. And because of this degree driven focus, in the 2-year span, the student is more focused on getting an A for his assignment than actually learning about business. Secondly, the syllabus of most colleges is not updated to match the changing requirements of the industry. For example, creator economy, dropshipping and cloud kitchens are 3 of the fastest emerging markets in India. And yet, very few colleges help the students explore these markets properly. And thirdly, there is a big industry-academic disconnect. And I'll give you a practical example of the same. I run this marketing company called Elevate with my co-founder Neil Gugia. And we speak to a lot of brand managers from edtech to fintech to even legacy FMCG brands. And most of these companies have a brand manager who's almost always an MBA graduate. And you know what? These MBA graduates have no idea how YouTube marketing works. They have no idea how performance marketing works. So recently we executed a campaign for an edtech company that spent 40 lakhs with us and we generated a return of 1.05 crores in sales. So the company actually got a return of 260% on their ad spend. But when we looked at the campaigns that these MBA graduates led, they barely achieved a return of 60 to 80%. And we also have a case whereby a company spent 6 lakhs on a single ad and they got 2.2 million impressions, but they got only 3 app downloads. This was because these MBA grads were never taught how to write ads for social media. They don't understand creators and they don't understand how to position their company to different target groups via creators. So every day our team spends more time explaining social media marketing to them than actually executing the strategy. And this causes crores in losses to both company and the marketing agencies across India. This is the problem of industry-academic disconnect. These are the problems that Masters Union identified in the market. Now the question over here is, business education in India is terrible, that is fine. But when everybody is going online, how does building a physical B school make sense in today's world? And what exactly did this 3-year-old company do that it is beating the placement records of IIM Ahmedabad and ISB? So let's dive into the higher education market of India and you will understand the answer to the same. People, the higher education market of India is a $100 billion market and it is by far one of the most profitable markets in India. If you look at this chart, it states the PAT margins of the top private colleges. Here if you see, even with revenues of 500 to 1900 crores, they are achieving a PAT of 80 to 30%. And just to tell you how big a deal this is, in the wine industry, Sula Wines had a PAT of 12.7%. Z Media in the media space had a PAT of 12.6%. Whereas here, the minimum PAT in this table is 18% and goes up to 33%. And in spite of having such high profit margins, if you look at the investment needed to build a business school, it is far lower than that of engineering college. Why? Because in an engineering college, you need to have labs. These labs need to have high-tech equipments, and these equipments might cost you anywhere between 20,000 rupees to 10 lakh rupees to sometimes even 1 crore rupees. And you can't have a single lab. You need to have multiple labs per domain of engineering and multiple domains of engineering in a single college. So to build an engineering college with 5 engineering courses, you need a minimum of 20 labs with equipments. Whereas if you look at business schools, their only capital investment is in projectors, interactive whiteboards and other elements of smart classrooms, all of which cost way lower than laboratories. Secondly, business education also has the biggest market share in professional courses in India. And if you look at the numbers, while BTech and engineering account for 25.78% of enrollments in India, 55.11% enroll in BCom and BBA. So more than half of the massive Indian student population is only looking for business education. Furthermore, a business school also has the opportunity to sell postgraduate courses for managers and executives, online MBA programs and custom B2B programs. And while the average margins in masters in engineering courses range from 20 to 50%, the average margins in masters of a business degree ranges from 50 to 70%. And this surplus helps the college reinvest more money into student startups or have more money that students can use in investment funds or projects. So the moral of the story is that business education in India is a huge market with a huge problem, and it's a very, very profitable market. And this brings us to the most exciting part of the episode, and that is about how the hell does Masters Union solve the business education problems in India, which results into such great placement numbers. Well, it all started during COVID. Now, if you remember the flywheel, the company will do well if it has the first batch of great students. And by great students, we mean the ones who could score a 99 percentile in CAT. Now, obviously, if someone has a 99 percentile in CAT, they would not trust a new company which has no students at all, right? So how did Masters Union get its first batch of great students? Well, this is where Pratham found an opportunity during COVID. If you remember, during this time, most students had deferred their admissions of foreign universities because they didn't know whether the classes will be held online or offline. So even though they got accepted, they deferred their admissions for next year.
Coronavirus has forced dozens of universities around the country to suspend their overseas programs.
The number of students taking a gap year, a year away from school, is also on the rise.
We'll certainly see a fall semester, whether it's online or whether it's face-to-face. I think that's still a question that's up in the air.
So as far as the study schedule is concerned, of course, for international students, there will be a lot of delays.
Many postgraduate students will end up deferring their offer this year as well.
And this means what? A lot of brilliant students with high GMAT were sitting idle with nothing to do. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, the team of Masters Union came up and gave them an offer that they could not refuse. They said, guys, listen, you're not doing anything this year. And the reason why you're going to US or Europe is to get a job at McKinsey or BCG, right? So they said, we will give you an 80% scholarship on a fees of 80 lakhs and you just have to pay 3.5 lakhs. And if we get you a job, you can save 50 to 60 lakhs of your college and living expenses in the US. And if we don't get you a job, you can go to the US next year anyways. Now, do you see this? For students who are willing to spend 60 lakhs in the US, this was an amazing and yet low cost, high value proposition. And not so surprisingly, 60 students agreed and Masters Union got its first batch of great students. And because there were less than 100 people in the campus, they could conduct classes even under COVID restrictions. And guess what? This batch turned out to be so amazing that they got an average package of 29.12 lakhs per annum. And this is where, with great students plus great education, Masters Union cracked the third pillar of the education flywheel, which is great placement. Now the question is, what did Masters Union do so special that they were able to deliver such extraordinary placement results? Well, the answer to it lies in their education. The first thing they did was seek inspiration from medical colleges for implementing something called practitioner-based learning. So if you look at medical education, the students are taught by real doctors on real patients. This is what gives them a first-hand experience of their profession. Similarly, if you look at Masters Union, you will see that retail and marketing is taught by the ex-CEO of Starbucks India, economics of EV is being taught by the CEO of Hero Electric, and pricing strategy subject is taught by former marketing director at Johnson & Johnson. So when the faculty itself is an active part of the industry, they bring two amazing value adds to the table. Number one, the professors know exactly what is trending in the industry, so they give you the latest insight into the industry, bring in data and live business case studies. This way, they teach particularly those skills that make you employable and not just textbook knowledge. Secondly, since they come from very senior positions in their company, they themselves become recruiters at Masters Union. For example, the senior vice president of sales at Razorpay directly took the toppers of the class to lead enterprise sales at Razorpay. Unacademy offered a job to a student to be the associate director of growth. These are the values that practitioners bring to the table. The second principle of Masters Union is centered around challenge-based learning, because they believe the best way to learn business is to build a business and apply the in-class learning directly in the market. For example, in marketing, there is this concept called premiumization. This is a technique to improve the aesthetics, packaging and positioning of the product such that the customer will perceive the product to be a premium product and hence the brand can command a higher price of the product. A simple example of the same is Bata versus Nike. Now you tell me, if I give you 5,000 rupees and I ask you to choose between a 5,000 rupees Bata and a 5,000 rupees Nike shoe, which one are you more likely to choose? Obviously Nike, right? Because in your mind, a Bata product is good enough to spend only 3,000 rupees, but not 5,000 rupees. And this fundamental difference in perception exists because of Nike's ambassadors, packaging, design, store location, and countless other factors of premiumization. So in Masters Union, to help students apply these concepts, they have something called the one-day profit challenge. In this project, the students are given 10,000 rupees to buy products from a street market, and the challenge is to build a brand around it in one day, use the principles of packaging, placement, and visual appeal, and sell it in the evening at a premium marketplace. So the students bought everything from cups to pots, branded them, packaged them and sold them in the market. And whoever made the maximum profit won the challenge. And as it turns out, some of these students did such an amazing job that they sold the flea market products in the premium market at a profit of 144%. And the grading of this entire assignment was done based on the profits that these students generated. Similarly, in their syllabus itself, there are challenges whereby students have to build a dropshipping business, a Kickstarter campaign, and even a creator brand. Now, to be very honest, when I read all this on their website, it sounded like yet another marketing gimmick. But this is what I saw. And you know what happened because of this? In their dropshipping challenge, students successfully dropshipped products worth 2 crore rupees. A student-run company called Boxes and Bakers started a healthy homemade lunch business that ended up making a revenue of 3 lakh rupees with a net profit of 37,000 rupees. Similarly, Karigur, which is a home decor brand, generated a total revenue of 1.1 lakh rupees and a profit of 73,000 rupees during the project period. And now, their revenue is more than 7 lakh rupees with a 45% gross profit. So do you see this? Business students are learning business by doing business and not just reading about it. This is the second principle that Masters Union stands by. And finally, Masters Union has no closed book exams at all. Instead, they give practical challenges to evaluate students' skills and abilities. These assessments are challenges faced by companies and entrepreneurs themselves, and students need to apply what they've learned through a real-world scenario. For example, they have to adopt a local dhaba, find problem statements and provide detailed business solutions to the dhaba. So the MU students caught hold of a dhaba called Hyderabadi Biryani House, and they identified that the dhaba's online presence was not optimized, customers were not leaving enough ratings, and employee motivation was too low. So the first solution they provided was to improve the SEO in the description to optimize discoverability in delivery apps like Swiggy and Zomato. Then, they optimized the preparation time because both Swiggy and Zomato give preference to restaurants with lower preparation times. And finally, for employee motivation, they suggested performance-based compensation instead of the fixed compensation. And guess what? In just 6 months, this dhaba saw a drastic spike in its sales. This is how, using practitioner-led teaching, through challenge-based learning, through live on-ground business case studies and strategy implementation, Masters Union is redefining the standards of business education in India. This is the reason why companies pay very heavily to recruit students from Masters Union. Also, 10% of the students in MU choose entrepreneurship, and some of them have successfully raised venture capital for their businesses. In fact, Masters Union reinvests its profits back into these student-led startups. This is the education aspect of Masters Union. If this is very, very clear to you, let's move on to the last part of the episode, and that is the business viability of Masters Union. Now, if you look at what kills any company in today's market, it is either very heavy investment that locks the capital, or for the edtech companies, it is very high customer acquisition cost. But if you look at Masters Union, they have tackled both these risks very strategically. Firstly, instead of investing very heavily into buying their campus, they rented the campus. So instead of paying interest on the loan or locking in a very heavy capital, the percentage of rent that they pay as a part of their revenue is limited to just 5%. So no interest burden and no capital lock-in. Secondly, 60% of their faculties are visiting faculties and practitioners. So this creates a lower dependency on full-time staffs and leads to lower fixed costs. At the same time, this also gives them the ability to attract faculties from Harvard, Walton and Stanford. Thirdly, they reduce the customer acquisition cost by charging an application fee for the students. And here's where a Masters Union is building a virtuous cycle of branding expense and zero customer acquisition cost. And using this model, they fuel the first pillar of the flywheel, which is marketing. In simple words, the more Masters Union invests in branding by getting famous people onto their channel and creating content, the more people recognize Masters Union. The more people recognize Masters Union, the more they will know about their placement data. The more people know about their placement data, the more effective their marketing and branding pillar becomes. And because of this, the number of applications for Masters Union spikes. And to filter these applications out, Masters Union charges a 5,000 rupee fee per application. This way they get great students, plus they're able to generate a huge revenue out of application fee. And all this revenue that they earn from application is reinvested into branding and marketing. For example, for the 4th cohort, they received 2,400 applications, which made up 1.2 crores in revenue. So this 1.2 crores will now be reinvested into marketing and branding next year. This will lead to more applications and hence better students, zero customer acquisition cost, and more importantly, an ever expanding marketing budget. So this is how the virtuous cycle is being completed. So they started with a great batch of students during COVID, gave them great education, great students plus great education got them great placements got them powerful marketing materials, and when marketing became powerful, more applications came in. This again boosted the quality of the batch, decreased the CAC, and gave them more branding budget for next year, which again will get them great students. This is how, using a brilliant business strategy and great education, Masters Union is becoming the Harvard of India. And now they're getting into the UG space. So in today's market, the average salary that a business graduate gets is around 6 to 9 lakhs. And now Masters Union has its first batch, for which they are aiming to get a package of 30 lakhs per annum. So if they do it, they will end up building not one, but 2 flywheels in the business education market of India. This is the story, business model, and the business strategy of Masters Union. And this brings us to the last part of the episode, and that are the lessons that we need to learn from the rise of Masters Union. Lesson number 1. The best way to learn business is to build a business and not just read about it. Lesson number 2. Every time there is a crisis situation, it is your choice whether to perceive it as a threat or opportunity for your business. While most people saw COVID as a threat, in this case, Pratham and team proactively leveraged the COVID situation to get their first batch of students. And if you take out the COVID factor, it would have been very, very difficult for them to get the first batch of students. As a result, the flywheel would never have started. So whenever there's a crisis situation, do not always assume it to be a threat to your business. And lastly, one of the most powerful barriers to entry is a self-propelling marketing machine. In this case, Masters Union has built such a powerful flywheel in the education market that with each passing year, as long as their education is world class, their flywheel will automatically get them great students, great placements, minimized CAC, and an ever expanding marketing budget. And this is very, very powerful. So in your context, try and see how you can build a self-propelling marketing machine that can put you way ahead of your competitors. That's all from my side today, guys. If you learned something valuable, please make sure to hit the like button in order to make YouTube Baba happy. And for more such insightful business and political case studies, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.